Well, it's been hailed the celebrity trial of the century, and yesterday marked the first day when exes Johnny Depp and Amber Heard came face to face in a British courtroom.
The Pirates of the Caribbean star is suing the Sun newspaper for libel over allegations that he was abusive towards his ex-wife Amber.
Well, joining us now are Matthew Wright and libel lawyer Alex McCready. And welcome, lovely to see you in the studio.
It really is.
Thank you for keeping us sane.
We've done our best whilst we went mad. Let's start with Alex. Alex, money's not the motive here, is it?
No. Depp's legal team made very clear yesterday that the case is all about vindication of his reputation and clearing his name. So he's come to court to try and do that and tackle and challenge the allegations made by the Sun that he is a wife beater.
We're going to redial you and see if we can get a better link, Alex. So we'll be back with you in just a second. Matthew, what did you make of what happened yesterday?
Bear in mind, before I started doing telly, I did 10 years as a showbiz journalist running around, so I met Johnny Depp back in the 90s. And so that's going on for 25, 30 years of covering this thing. I have never known anything like this. You have Hollywood royalty washing the dirtiest of laundry in public. And if we want to talk dirty laundry, I mean, Johnny Depp claimed yesterday, during 4 hours of testimony, that he decided to get divorced after finding someone had defecated in the marital bed. And the suggestion was it could have been Amber Heard or it could have been one of her friends. He held his hand up to just about every sordid allegation that has been made against him over the last 25, 30 years, taking drugs from the age of 11.
He was very open.
He made no secret about smashing up hotel bars and such like, and we saw video of that broadcast in court yesterday. But he says, I didn't hit her.
And so, is it worth it, I guess, is the question here? I mean, it's a balance between, isn't it? I mean, obviously, he's talked about the pain of having those allegations made against him, that headline. But to be so public and have, like you said, literally your dirty laundry aired in public, is it worth it?
To me, and I want to hopefully hear from Alex on this a little later, the critical part is the use of the word wife-beater by the Sun newspaper. I'm not a lawyer. I think 20 or 30 years ago, when we heard the word wife-beater, we would have expected it to be a form of behaviour, that it would have happened more than once. At this stage in the court proceedings, Johnny Depp denies any violent assault against Amber Heard at all. Should she says she has proof, well, that's been suggested. If that was to come out and there was one incident, does that make him a wife-beater, if indeed this exists? At the moment, we don't know.
Yeah. But
the term is so damaging in this day and age. I think that Johnny Depp has taken the view that if it was to be allowed to go unchecked, that would have a long-term damaging effect on his movies. In fact, if you see the Harvey Weinstein Me Too, I mean, that's the end of his production house, and you could easily see the same thing happening to Depp if it's proven. Right. But it's for the Sun newspaper. This is what's fascinating about libel, is it's for the people who make the claim, in this case the Sun newspaper, to prove it's true. So therefore, Amber Heard will be their star witness.
And we haven't heard from her yet.
Not yet.
We will probably will hear from Vanessa Paradis and Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Both of their testimonies also married to both of them. So then if you're in that deeply in a relationship, then what have they got to say about him?
In between, you have, and this is the thing that I was personally struck by, is as someone who's been through a divorce and had difficult relationships, is suddenly you think, God, dear, there's an element of schadenfreude. You think, Depp and Heard are the Hollywood A-listers. They're multi-millionaires. The world sort of worships at their feet. But my God, what a miserable time they were having, leaving aside the allegation of wife-beater, videoing each other, one to say, oh, you can use this with your therapist, catching evidence. I mean, it's just...
It wasn't a healthy relationship.
Horrendous relationship.
You've said that the interest in this is up there with Prince Charles and Diana of that time. What makes you say that?
Simply because the stature of the key players, before Charles and Diana had gone were fighting each other through the divorce courts, it was unheard of, really, for the royal family to brief against each other, to air their dirty laundry in public. And those of us with memories, or who remember the famous book, Diana, Her Story, Andrew Morton, there's allegations of Charles throwing Diana down the stairs, and that earth-shaking revelations. In this, we go from UK royalty to Hollywood royalty, and I would say Hollywood royalty, in many ways, is global royalty.
What impact on the media here, one way or the other?
It's a very, very difficult call. History would suggest whether the newspaper, the Sun newspaper in this case, was to lose, that it doesn't necessarily carry a long-term negative effect for the newspaper other than in the cost, the legal costs. There was one newspaper I worked for back in the day was involved in a libel with well, it was with Michael Jackson, actually, who subsequently died before it came to court. And the view of that newspaper was, well, even if we lose, the publicity that comes from fighting this case will be good for our brand and good for our newspaper. So that the Sun may be taking that view. But then again, what a witness, what a star witness for a newspaper, for a newspaper, the Sun newspaper, you know, a very divisive newspaper, very, you know, hardcore. Their star witness is Amber Heard. I mean, that's an extraordinary card, an ace in their pack.
Well, let's speak to Alex now, who is a libel lawyer. We spoke to you earlier. That looks like the line's a little bit better then. Alex, you've said that these next 3 weeks are going to be absolutely torturous for everyone involved in this, particularly for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Why have you said that?
Well, because essentially what the Sun are looking to do is to defend the allegations that they've made that he's a wife beater and prove that they are true. So to do that, they're going to have to place intense scrutiny on Johnny Depp and his reputation and his private life in order to do that. So there's going to be an awful lot of dirty laundry and very private details aired by both sides, both Heard and the Sun, and by Depp, in order to prove their case.
Well, let me put to you the question that Holly just put to Matthew, and that is it worth it for him? Why would he go this far and have your entire life open to scrutiny?
I think he's, you know, this is a real roll of the dice for Johnny Depp, but he's probably of the view that the allegations out there about him are so serious that he can't leave them unchallenged. And, you know, if he doesn't do this, if he doesn't take a stand, his career and his personal reputation is damaged forever.
And so is that what you believe? I mean, if he does lose this, if this roll of the dice goes horribly wrong, what's his career going to look like on the other side of this?
Yeah, and that's the risk that he's taking here, obviously. If he loses, obviously there's a financial implication, but the real downside is he hasn't vindicated his reputation. So essentially, a court has said, I think there is sufficient evidence to justify calling you a wife beater, which is, you know, horrendous for him and his career in the future.
If he wins, what's the impact on the media?
There's obviously, as like I said, a financial implication for the Sun, but equally, the press are going to. I don't think it will stop or change anything fundamentally about how the press report on this. I think there will be a financial implication, but I agree, I don't think it's going to have any long-term impact on the press. The person it's going to have the long-term impact on is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, I think.
And I guess a point you made originally, which is really important, that it's down to the Sun, actually, to prove or disprove this allegation, so the onus is completely on them.
Yeah, the burden of proof in defamation cases sort of shifts from one party to the other. So it was for Johnny Depp to prove that the allegations caused serious harm to his reputation, which, given the obvious nature and severity of the allegations, is not difficult to do. Yeah. But then the burden shifts to the Sun to prove that the allegation that he's a wife beater is substantially true, which is why we've got a 3-week trial and 2 star witnesses and other Hollywood A-list celebs coming to town to prove this.
Alex, thank you very much. Thank you.
3 weeks.
You're going to love. You're loving this.
What happened yesterday?
I mean, the sad thing is, you have 2 lives here laid bare, all about as personal as it could possibly be. 2 human beings, 2 people, and yet, as you said at the beginning, you were gripped
and miserable and it's a bizarre thing because there's a lot to be said about celebrity and why we like celebrity, and in part that sometimes they make us feel good about ourselves. And I think even though it's at a high cost to Depp and Heard, there will be a lot of people thinking, God, bloody hell, I thought my relationship was bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as those two. Maybe we've got something worth fighting for, worth saving.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next 3 weeks.
We will indeed.
Thank you
Happy
very much.
birthday.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.